Hello, this is Dylan Miller on Daily Dose of Dylan, Google Podcast, Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio. This is Dylan Miller on Daily Dose of Dylan. Alright, got the last podcast of the summer and probably for a while here. But, now some good stuff. I'm going to talk about pretty much just the NFL today as we gear towards the start of the season. And later on, I will give my official top 10 teams heading into this season. And, alright. I'm going to spare you guys. I initially had another segment about the Cowboys, but I feel like I've given you guys enough of that this summer. You know where I stand. Cliff Notes version. They should pay Dak now while they still can before it becomes... Like, if they wait to pay him, it's going to be even more than it is already. But yeah, that's my Cliff Notes version of what I think the Cowboys should do. The other thing was, it's either sign Dak now or... overpay for Dak or rebuild. That's the Cliff Notes version. But instead, we are going to open up with what Bill Belichick said about the Jets, saying they are going to be one of the hardest teams to prepare for the season because of Breece Hall and his involvement in the offense. And I absolutely agree. As you guys know, one of my 5... I don't even know if this is a bold prediction, but one of my 5 predictions for the NFL season was Breece Hall winning Offensive Player of the Year. And I've also said that offense should, if the Jets are smart, they will revolve that offense around Breece Hall. They'll have him as the focal point. I know Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers is still a 40-year-old coming off of a major Achilles injury. A 40-year-old coming off of surgery is bad. And I know, Aaron Rodgers is no ordinary 40-year-old, but it's still going to hinder him. And the last time Rodgers was fully healthy, he had his worst season since 2009, possibly. Aaron Rodgers, the last time he was fully healthy and played a full season, had his worst season statistically since 2009. And that's hard to ignore. He'll still be much better than Zach Wilson, don't get me wrong, but they're still going to have to revolve the offense around Breece Hall. The difference is going to be when they take the load off of Breece Hall, because obviously you can't have Breece Hall run every play, but when they do pass the ball, they're actually going to get a competent quarterback. They have a competent quarterback to throw the ball now. That's the difference. They're not going to be throwing... They pretty much have the anti-Zach Wilson, where instead of throwing a pick every other play, they're going to be... They have the guy who quarterbacked an offense who had the least turnovers for years. When the Packers were at their best, their biggest strength was the fact that they didn't turn the ball over, and that was because of Aaron Rodgers. But this offense with Breece Hall in it is going to be a force to be reckoned with if Rodgers stays healthy. I know I keep saying that. And I will spoil a little bit. The Jets are in my top 10 teams. I do think I've been pretty clear. I think the Jets are a great team. I think they are a division winner if Rodgers stays healthy. But I do have... Yes, you can argue, any team can suffer an injury. I absolutely agree with that. But with the Jets, I would argue the injury risk is much higher with a 40-year-old quarterback coming off of surgery. I would argue it's more likely Rodgers gets injured than C.J. Stroud or Mahomes or Josh Allen. Joe Burrow I do kind of worry about also, but you know what I mean. There is a bigger injury risk with Rodgers than there is with any other team. But yeah, I have high hopes for the Jets. Now, sticking with the AFC East, we're going to go to the Dolphins. Tyreek Hill said this is the best Dolphins team he's been a part of. Listen, it's his word over mine. I am going to stick to my guns and say that the Dolphins they missed the playoffs this year. That's my guess. I think the AFC East is going to have 2 teams, not 3, in the playoffs this year. Come to think of it, I don't think I have any division with 3 teams in the playoffs this year. Which I don't think is unrealistic at all. Wait. Hang on. I have to think now. Things. No, I don't. Okay. Sorry, I had to do math there for a second. It takes me a while. But, yeah. I mean, yes, there are certain divisions where 3 teams can make the playoffs, like the AFC North, obviously. Yeah, like the Ravens and Bengals. They're going to be fantastic. And then the Steelers and Browns are both going to be probably 7, 8, 9 win teams, possibly. Puts them in playoff contention. Even the NFC North, don't sleep on the NFC North as well. Packers, Lions are probably playoff locks. The Bears are interesting. Obviously, I'm going to root against the Bears any chance I get, but I am excited to see what they can do with that offense. But yeah, I think the 2 most likely divisions to have 3 teams are AFC North and AFC East, but I don't know. I feel like the Vikings are going to take a slide this year. I don't know. I just get a feeling. I mean, lucky for them, there's no way they get 4th in that division with New England there, because New England... I don't see how New England can possibly win more than 3 or 4 games this year with that offense they have. And the fact that they're playing the Dolphins, Jets, and Bills, who are all pretty good teams, that's 6 of their games. That's almost half their schedule. So I can probably pencil them down for at least 1-5 in those games. Maybe they get a win once in one of the 6 tries they get at those 3 teams. But yeah, I don't know. I get the feeling the Dolphins are heading for a bit of a fall this year. And Tua is also another health concern as well. But I'm going to move past that for now. Alright, so yesterday I expressed concern because my Super Bowl picks, the Niners and Bengals, are both having contract issues after I praised both of them for being the 2 best teams in the league, but whatever. The Niners came through for me. I will say that. They signed Trent Williams over the weekend, which I think is huge. And I did tell you guys yesterday I might make a backup Super Bowl pick. And I'm going to do that with the AFC because I think if Jamar Chase, because his week 1 status is still undeclared. If he holds out long, I'm going to have to pick a new team. But the Niners, I'm gonna stick with them. I don't like the noisy offseason. I do have some doubt, but I'm going to stick with the Niners. Getting Ayuk and Trent Williams back is huge. Trent Williams is a mismatch for every edge rusher he goes against. When he's in pass protection, he'll hold up better than any left tackle in the league. I think he is... He's been the best left tackle in the league for as long as I can remember. And I've only been following football since 2014. But he's been in the league, obviously longer than I've been a fan of the sport. And he's always been at least in the top 5 for left tackles, and more recently, I think he's been the best. So yeah, having him back is going to be huge for Brock Purdy and McCaffrey. But I do have some doubts. McCaffrey, his health kind of concerns me a little bit. But lucky for them, their offense is still stacked. Even without McCaffrey, as crazy as it sounds. Yes, not having McCaffrey is going to be, like, if he goes down for a few games, it's going to be bad. But still got Kittle. Still got Ayuk. They still got Deebo Samuel. They have a great offensive line and a great defense. So losing McCaffrey is going to be a big hit. And that's an if, though. We don't know the extent of his calf injury right now. But, yeah, so I'm going to stick with the Niners for the NFC. The AFC, I am replacing my Bengals pick with, you're not going to believe this, the Houston Texans. I know. I said their ceiling is the AFC Championship. But I really don't think the Chiefs are going to be able to... I know the Chiefs are better on paper, especially when it comes to experience in the playoffs, but I don't know. Like I said, the Chiefs have been through... Like, I think I made the connection either 2 days ago or maybe yesterday. I can't even remember. But I watched the 30 for 30 on the 80s Pistons. One thing Joe Dumars said as they were going into the 1991 playoffs, he said something felt different, and he said playing until late May for 5 straight years took a toll on them. If you look at what they did, 87, they made the Eastern Conference Finals. 88, 89, 90, they make the finals, win 2 out of the 3. And then 91, they're back in the Eastern Conference Finals. So that's 5 years of playing from October to at least late May, early June. The Chiefs, you look at them, 2018, AFC Championship. 2019, AFC Championship. 2020, Super Bowl. 2021, 2022, 2023. That's 6 years of playing from September until late January. This has to take some sort of toll, right? All right, They can't win again, can they? They might. It's fine. It's not going to happen. I'm sticking to this prediction. If Jamar Chase continues his holdout, Bengals, Niners. Or continues his holdout, Bengals. No, God damn it. If Jamar Chase continues his holdout, Niners, Texans. If not, Bengals, Niners. That's final. Okay, speaking of the Chiefs, they play the Ravens in 2 days, on Thursday night. I did say that the Ravens would win this, but I'm having second thoughts, and I still think they're going to win this. It's not, honestly, week 1 is not a big deal. Whatever happens here, I don't know. What else did I say about week 1? I said Ravens over Chiefs. I took the Jets over the Niners. So, week 1, I don't think the Jets are better than the Niners or that the Ravens are going to be better than the Chiefs this year. I just think in week 1, we're going to see, I think the Ravens are going to be in a shootout with the Chiefs, and I think the Jets are going to win a defensive game against the Niners. But the Ravens, they're coming in with a chip on their shoulder, having lost 17-10 last time the Chiefs won. They lost in a way that they typically don't lose because the Ravens are typically a very high-power offense. So, I think they go into Arrowhead and win the first game. But ultimately, until Lamar fixes his playoff struggles, it's going to be a while before they beat the Chiefs. All right. A big thing with Week 1 that I'm going to love to see is the rookie quarterbacks coming out. I am also interested to see, as I said, when they named Russell Wilson the starter, we're going to see how... I think we're going to see more of Justin Fields. I think we're going to see Justin Fields sooner than most people think. I mean, like I said, it's going to depend how the Steelers do their first 4 weeks. Because really, they shouldn't... They should start out about 3-1, right? Because they have at least... They have Falcons, Broncos, Chargers, Colts. I think they beat the Colts and the Broncos. Chargers and Falcons will be tough for them, but... if they go 3-1 on that span, I think Wilson stays in for a while. If not, I think they switch over to Justin Fields in Week 5. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of interesting things to look out for. Not just for Week 1, but for the entire season, honestly. Drake May gets a pretty tough challenge against the Bengals. Week 1, I almost... I think... I don't know. I don't know why the Patriots didn't go with Drake May. I get the whole... Mahomes sat behind Smith. Rodgers sat behind Favre. But, this is Jacoby Brissett. Alex Smith was a respectable quarterback. And I said the same thing about Desmond Ridder sitting behind Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is a respectable quarterback. Jacoby Brissett has been a career backup. And, yeah, that might sound disrespectful, but it's the truth. He has been a career backup. A good one, I'll give him that. But, I feel like they should just throw Drake May in there. Honestly, I know it's risky. And I do sort of... I shouldn't have said I don't understand the logic. I sort of do. The O-line's crappy, and they play a lot of good defenses this year, so they want to save Drake May the beating. I get that. But him sitting behind Jacoby Brissett's not going to do anything. It really won't. And besides, what's the point if Jacoby Brissett, he's older than Drake May, he might go down pretty quickly with that crappy O-line against all these defenses. Trey Hendrickson, they got Trey Hendrickson when they play the Bengals. They play the Jets twice, the Niners with Nick Bosa. Hello. They got a tough schedule there. But yeah, I would have loved to see what Drake May can do against them, because I would have loved to see that. It might have surprised us, honestly. But we're not going to get that. So, I'm also interested to see what Richardson can do. There's a lot of good quarterback stories. If Bryce Young can at least put up somewhat of a respectable matchup against the Saints. They do have Cameron Jordan, who's a tough edge rusher, but other than that, Team's kind of empty. Gardner Minshew, first game with the Raiders. That's going to be interesting. What else do we got? Bo Nix. That's the guy I'm watching. Obviously Justin Fields, but he has the Titans, so I'm hoping he does good against the Titans. Bo Nix has the Seahawks. That's interesting. Jaden Daniels gets the Bucks, which will be interesting. But without further ado, let's move into my top 10 teams heading into this season. At number 10, I got the New York Jets. Why aren't they higher? Because of my injury concern for Rodgers. That is literally it. If it wasn't for that, I could probably squeeze them into my top 7. They're not a top 5 team, though. Don't get that too twisted, Jet fans. The top 6 is set in stone for me. But the Jets could definitely squeeze into the 7th spot if I had more confidence in Rodgers' health. But I don't. Number 9 is the Rams. As I've said, I think they're a dark horse for the Super Bowl. Losing Aaron Donald is going to be big. I'm not underestimating that. But even without him, they still have a good defense. They still have what seems to be a solid running game. I don't know what they're going to do with Kyren Williams and Blake Corum, but I trust what Sean McVay does. So they also have a great coach. I think Stafford is a great quarterback. And they have Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua in their receiving core. So they have a pretty full team. And, yeah, they're definitely a dark horse for the NFC Championship. Another dark horse is the Green Bay Packers, who I have at number 8. Jordan Love looked fantastic at the end of last year. Unfortunately, that was only 9 games, and I can't put him ahead of the top 7 teams. I can't put them in the top 7 for that. But what we can't ignore is the fact that they went toe-to-toe with the 49ers in the divisional round, who then proceeded to take the Chiefs to overtime and damn near won the Super Bowl. Packers went toe-to-toe with them in Jordan Love's first year as a starter. So the Packers are worthy of the number 8 spot, but fortunately I couldn't put them any higher. And that's really the story with most of these teams. Listen, with every team I try to put them as high as possible. I don't like criticizing teams, but I can't put the Jets higher than 10 because of my health concerns. The Rams, I am a little concerned with Stafford's age and Aaron Donald's absence there. It's going to be bad for them. I still have hope for their defense, but it's hard to ignore. Aaron Donald brought a lot to the table. And then the Packers, I have hope for them. I think their offense is going to be fantastic, but their defense is average, and we haven't seen Jordan Love perform at a high level for an entire year. But without further ado, I'm going to say number 7 is the Eagles. Listen, their roster is great. I am most concerned with the play calling because, let's face it, their roster was great last year too. It did get better getting Saquon Barkley, but not by much because they still lost Jason Kelce, which is a big hit. But even with that, they got A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert's a good tight end, Devontae Smith. Jalen Hurts has a lot of talent. Obviously, Barkley is a major upgrade in the backfield, and their defense is pretty solid too. But they had as I said, they had that last year, other than Saquon Barkley. And they still, their season started off great and it went down real quick. Due to play calling problems, right? So, I can't be too high on them because I don't know. I do think Kellen Moore is going to be pretty good, but Super Bowl level like Shane Steichen was, I'm not sure. So number 7 is where I'm putting them for now. Number 6 is the Baltimore Ravens with my only concern being Lamar's playoff struggles. They're as good. They are an incredibly well-run organization. Harbaugh is a fantastic coach. Lamar Jackson is a 2-time MVP. You know, they have had a well-run organization for years, but they can't get it done in the playoffs. You know, no matter how good they look. So that's my number one problem. You might not like this next one, but number 5 is the Houston Texans. I'm really high on them. I really am. I really do think they're going to make the AFC Championship next year. As I've said, if Jamar Chase ends his holdout, then the Bengals are the better team. But if not, I don't doubt that the Texans can make it to a Super Bowl. They only upgraded pretty much everywhere. Mixon in the backfield, O-line got better. C.J. Stroud should be getting better. Added Stephon Diggs, still got Tank Dell, Nico Collins, added Daniel Hunter to their defense. And DeMeco Ryans seems to be a fantastic coach. I think this team is stacked beyond belief, and the only problem that we're into is a lack of experience in the playoffs. So that's my number 5. Number 4 is the Bengals. With my only concern being the Jamar Chase holdout. You know, I really wish I had a better gauge of what's going on in Cincinnati, but I don't. So I just have to look at the facts. They still got Burrow, who went to a Super Bowl without a good O-line. Now they've upgraded that O-line, which is huge. Zach Taylor has proven to be a great offensive coach. They still got Higgins and Chase, which is going to be a great 1-2 punch at receiver. And they upgraded at defense. So losing Mixon's going to be, you know, what it is, I think. I mean, I'm just looking at the fact that they were really damn close to winning a Super Bowl the last time Burrow was completely healthy. You know, they went toe-to-toe with the Chiefs in the AFC Championship twice, beating them once. And yeah, they're my number 4. Number 3 is the Lions. Another great roster. Not going to bore you with all that stuff, but their offense is also loaded. Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra, I don't know how to pronounce that. Their O-line is really good as well. And they're another team that went they were really close. They had the Niners pressed in the NFC Championship game. And I think they can do it again. But unfortunately, I don't think they're going to be as good as the Niners, who are my number 2. And I felt like by default, I had to have the Chiefs at 1 because they are the outgoing champions. But if I get on a podcast in November, don't be surprised if this list is different. You know? If I can get a mid-season list in, I have a feeling this list will be different. So just to recap, 10 Jets, 9 Rams, 8 Packers, 7 Eagles, 6 Ravens, 5 Texans, 4 Bengals, 3 Lions, 2 Niners. Number 1, the reigning champions, the Chiefs, but I really think that's going to change. Alright. So, week 1 of college football was a pretty exciting one. And, you know, I really do think this 12-team playoff format is going to be I think it's going to be positive for college football. You know, like, yes, you had only the best. In prior years, you've had the best teams who only lost, like the worst teams lost 1 game in the season. And that helped with the competitive nature. You know, that was just unmatched. But the 12-team playoffs, I think, will allow for a bigger audience, you know, bring in more viewers. Because now you're bringing in teams that could have 3 or maybe even 4 losses, which is very unorthodox for college football. But I think it makes it more interesting. I really do. I think by the end of this season, the ratings will experience a major spike. All right, we're gonna end this with the Bengals for my last segment of the summer.